Let's go to work! All right, 6:30. This is geared towards more of the new guys, but I'll talk to everybody. But you guys are going to get some games now. You've probably done some junior high games, and I'm just going to talk about running through when we walk on the floor to coaches, captains meetings, to checking the book and all that stuff. So I'll just run through that stuff. First of all, when do we go on the floor? 15 minutes, right? So, hey, be on time, right? And so be on time, be professional when you hit the floor. And as you work your way up, like the freshman and sophomore levels, you probably don't have to worry about it, but especially like varsity, you got guys that are going to be dunking and stuff like that. So when you walk on the floor, I usually first couple of steps, I like to present myself, so that I'm visible, and then start looking around, right? Don't go out looking for guys hanging on the rim or dunking and doing that kind of thing, okay? And if you're varsity guys, you're doing AA game or something like that, you hear the rim popping, you might hit a whistle as you're entering the floor. Just let them know you're entering the floor, right? Because I don't want to start the game with a tee, you know. And so if you can prevent some of that, try to prevent it, okay? But you young guys that are just walk on the floor, the referee, you decide in the locker room who's going to referee, who's going to be the U1, right? Referee's going to have the visiting team, U1's going to watch the home team. So stand out there, look professional, act like you're interested and want to be there. I mean, the coaches are watching you, the fans are watching you. This is the first time that they get to see and you present yourself. If you're standing out there and you're just like, I don't want to be here, you know, looking around. I mean, that's the perception that they're going to have of you when you start the game. They're already going to have an opinion if you can referee or not. So stand out there, you know, and act like you want to be there. Smile. The other thing you can do is you can talk to the players, watch them warm up. Try to figure out who the best player is, you know. And if you can talk to a player and get them on your side early, then you know, you might need that player during the game sometime. And so, you know, just try to say something to them, even if it's just simple, like, hey, I like your shoes. Are those comfortable? I mean, just something, just to get a little bit of conversation going with them. I mean, sometimes you can get lucky. I worked a game, it was a junior college game, and I said something to one of the players, and I said, hey, everybody good tonight? And he goes, no, actually 10 and 12 on the other team don't like each other. And yesterday in the hall, they kind of squared up. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good information to know before the game starts, right? So that changed everything leading into my captain's meeting, because those two knuckleheads were the captains, right? So I mean, if you can get a rapport with players, sometimes you can get lucky like that and get some information, or you can find out. I mean, if you get late in the season, you can ask, hey, what happened? You know, last time you guys played each other. You know, it was a close game, or it was a blowout, or whatever. But you can get some information by talking to the players. So you're going to stand out there. And this is kind of my philosophy too, is then we're going to go meet the coaches and we're going to do a captain's meeting, right? I like to go over early. I like to go over at 13. A lot of guys say like 12 or under, but I like to go early because I want to get the meeting over with and get to the book. And if I can prevent something in the book before the 10-minute mark, then you're going to save yourself a tee. Again, I don't want to start the game with a tee. So I like to go over at 13 as a crew. If it's 2 or 3 of you, you go meet both coaches, okay? And you always start with the visiting team first. And when you walk up, hey, shake their hand and look them in the eye and say, hey, good luck tonight, coach. You know, and give them a good firm handshake. Again, for a lot of you, this is the first time you're going to meet that coach. I mean, present yourself. You're selling yourself. It's like a job interview, right? You're presenting yourself that, hey, I got control tonight. This game's good to go. And so the other thing you can say, first of all, you got to ask them, hey, coach, is everybody legally equipped? And then you got to mention something about the coach's box. I usually just say, hey, coach, you understand the coach's box? They go, yeah. I go, hey, you got from here to the end line. Use the whole thing. I don't care what you do over here if you're not yelling at me. I usually just say something like that, right? So just point out the coach's box, that they understand the coach's box, and ask them if all the players are legally equipped, right? And then you're going to go down to the home team and you're going to say the same thing. Don't spend a lot of time with one coach and not the other. Try to make it quick. Spend the exact same amount of time that you're going to spend with one coach as the other coach, because they're paying attention to that stuff. Even if you know the coach, don't spend a lot of time at one end and then not at the other. Especially at a home game. You're at Sentinel, you're going to spend, 60 seconds at the home team, and you're going to spend 15 seconds in the visiting team. Let's just try to spend the same amount of time. They're all paying attention to that stuff, okay? So then we're going to get the coaches together. You're going to do a captain's meeting. And, hey, keep the captain's meeting short and sweet. You're going to talk about just a few key points, and everybody does everything different. I'll just tell you what I do. I talk about sportsmanship. I usually ask them if they have any questions, especially the visiting team. You got any questions? You understand the markings on the floor? They're always like, yeah, good. Hey, name of the game, sportsmanship. Take care of your teams tonight so I don't have to. And then most of it's, hey, good luck, put the ball in the hole, have fun. Help each other up. Just something positive like that. But don't get into rules or saying specific stuff like, hey, you got an arm bar on, we're calling that tonight. Because then the first time out, you say something like that. The first time out, there's an arm bar. Coach is like, hey, in the captain's meeting, you said you're calling an arm bar. You just save yourself a headache of saying that stuff. So keep the captain's meeting short and sweet. Ask them if they got any questions. Talk about sportsmanship. And then just hustle and have fun, right? So then you're going to go back over and you're going to watch the players again, get ready to throw the ball up. So we can get to the jump ball. Jump ball, hey, start the game out. It's important. Lloyd?
You're saying you go back and you watch the players and you're directing this to new guys. Is there anything that you look for while you're watching the players?
Well, I just usually just watch and I pay attention to, try to figure out who the better players are, who their studs might be, and if you want, you can try to figure out if the best player is left-handed or right-handed. That might be information you need to know at some point, and just watch them,
I've just noticed that when I watch the players, particularly in the girls' games, they all hop step, not the trap. I would pick up on the shoes, the outside shoes, where they grab the ball, catch it, and hop, the strap. You can see who really shoot the ball.
Right. Yeah, so if you can just gather information of what type of players you have, what type of team you have when you're standing there, you're gonna help yourself out. So then we're gonna get to the jump ball. So you're gonna bring the players out, gotta count them, make sure you got 5 going each, and make sure you line them up going the right direction, right? If they start the game, they're gonna go away from their benches, okay? So if you're working 2-man, you're gonna have your referee right across from you in front of the table. And I always glance at him, give him a shake, like, hey, we ready to go? And you step in there, you're going to crack your whistle and you're going to toss it up, okay? Spit the whistle out of your mouth. You don't want to get somebody, when I first started refereeing, I used to wear glasses when I refereed and threw the ball up, Frenchtown, got hit with a hand, knocked my glasses off, one of the lenses popped out. I had to referee the whole first quarter with one lens out of my glasses. So you never know what's going to happen. They're going to jump, they're going to throw an arm out. You don't want to get cracked in the head or you get your teeth knocked out because the whistle's in your mouth. So you get in there and throw it up, okay? The other thing is work on your toss. I go with one hand. I get in, I blow my whistle, tell everybody to get set. I get in with one hand and I flick it and toss it up, right? Some people like to get in two hands, get in there, get the elbows up, throw it up. So work on your toss and make sure it's appropriate for who you're refereeing for, okay? And try to get the toss up there so they go get it, okay? The other thing is you get up higher levels, you're going to get people that are going to try to steal it on you, right? So make sure you get it up and they're not getting it on the way up. And they're going to jump and you get it, okay? So jump ball, they can tap it, right? And it's got to be out of the circle. It's got to hit somebody else, and then you can come back in and they can possess it, right? What else do we look for on the jump ball?
One of the jumpers running out early.
One of the jumpers, the people around the circle got to stay put on the circle till the ball's tipped, right? So as you throw it up, your partner has got to watch if somebody's leaving early, right? Now the people that are off the circle, they can move, okay? But everybody on or around the circle's got to stay put till the ball's tipped. So you can't have, if you got like a little guy jumping against a big guy, you'll have somebody like trying to sneak back and steal it on there because they know they're going to lose the jump, right? So make sure they stay put. The other thing you look at is you want to look at their feet before you throw it up. So if you got people standing in there, come here and stand here. So if you got people standing there around the circle, make sure they're not intertwined, right? You got to be side by side, okay? Make sure they're not doing anything goofy like that. Make them no, not going to make you jump. Just so, make sure their feet aren't entangled or they're goofing around or they're monkeying around with each other before you throw it up, okay? So then you can have, so you throw it up. What if the ball gets tipped and then it gets dual possession? Two people tie it up. You're going to re-jump it, right? Who jumps? The two people that tied it up. Yep. Yep. So,
simultaneously tapped out of bounds, that trouble jumps.
simultaneous tapped out of bounds, you're going to re-jump it, and the two people that jump again, right? If it gets knocked out of bounds and it's obvious who it's off of, you're just going to, the other team's going to get the ball, and you set the arrow, right? And so then that's the last thing you want to do is after you throw the ball up and possession's done, make sure the arrow gets set, okay? Well, that's pretty much what I was going to talk about all the way through jump ball, and then we're going to do like live ball mechanics and stuff like that next week. So.
Where's the ball's going up, comes down, they both miss it, comes down and hits the floor.
It's good. If they miss it and it hits the floor,
It goes up, and nobody tips it, and it comes back down and hits the floor. They miss it, whatever, it comes back down and hits the floor.
I'm going to re-jump it.
Automatic.
Yep.
Anytime it hits the floor, just throw it up again.
Right.
If they tip it, it doesn't go out in a circle, they're not allowed to get possession.
They're not. They can hit it again and tip it. They can keep tipping it to get it out of the circle, but they can't possess it.
Okay.
Yep.
And then after it's tipped, it lands inside the circle. The players on the outside of the circle, are they able to go maintain possession?
Yeah. Yeah. They can go get it.
So Craig, if that happens, and that's a violation, where does the arrow point to?
Well, the team that gets the ball is going to get the ball, and then the arrow is going to go the opposite direction. Opposite team. You guys had a...
Interruption would be half court right then.
Yeah, you just go right to half court. You guys had a goofy jump on that Hellgate Billings game. Yeah. Holland threw it up, right?
Yeah.
Billings, you guys threw it up. It got tipped out, and then Worcester possessed it, started to dribble, loses it, potential foul, but then there's a tie-up, and you guys determined that Worcester possessed it, and so then you gave the ball to West.
the west and the arrow.
Yeah, ball to west and the arrow because, well, no, it shouldn't have been the arrow. Because you had,
Because Worcester had to jump.
Worcester got the jump.
right.
He took 2 dribbles and lost it. And then what happened?
Then you then you had a jump ball. Then you had to tie up. Then you had the other jump ball.
Was I on the floor?
Did everybody in full, because they wasn't allowed to get a pregame card?
We haven't handed those out at all, have we?
Scooter tried that. Yeah, I was here, I did that. Yeah. You were? Everybody looked at me like I was cool. I put them away. I think you were here, so. You took lots of time.
Any other questions on preliminary pregame stuff or coaches meetings?
Captain's meeting.
Yep.
Talk about what you're looking for in the book.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. Good example in the book. So when I check the book, I go over and I grab the book. First thing I do, because I'm still under 10, I make sure both teams have starters. Okay, so that's your first problem, right? Is if you don't have the starters in the book. So then if I don't have starters, I'm going to go find a coach and go, hey, you got to get your starters in the book. Okay, so that's the first thing I look at. Then I go through, I've already counted. I know one team's got 12 and the visiting team's got 11. So then I just go down and I count and I make sure I got 12 for this team and I double check the numbers, okay? So I go through and usually the most scorekeepers are pretty good. Numbers are all in order. And so then I make sure that the numbers match. They got 12 in the book and I got 12 on the floor. Now, if they got 13 on the book and I got 12 on the floor, I'm still good, right? But if they got 11 in the book, I got 12 on the floor, I got a problem, okay? So then I go through and I look, just make sure there's no double numbers, okay? Because that's the other problem that'll come up is if they have double numbers. They bring a kid up from JV and he's got the same number as one of the varsity kids. You're going to have double numbers, and that's what I look for. And I check both them, and that's why I like to go early, check the book, and if there's any problems in the book, I can check it and get it solved before the 10-minute mark. That's a good question.
If the, let's say